Hey, everybody, Sam Chlebowski here, and welcome to this product update live stream. Really excited to have everybody joining us here. And I'm going to give folks just a couple minutes to file in. I see we already have some people coming in. I'm also going to get us going live on Instagram. But really excited to have everybody with us here today. And we're going to be talking all about Motion.io's latest round of updates and improvements. So yeah, if you want to start things off by just telling me where you are coming in from, where you're joining us from in the world, whether that's the US, Australia, Canada, I would love to hear it. And we'll give folks just, another minute or two here to file in. But thank you all so much for being with us. So I'm going to go over here to Instagram and get us live there as well. Just give me 1 second here. I don't know how many people in the audience ever do live streams, but I use this tool, StreamYard, and really love it. But one of the slightly annoying things about it is it doesn't integrate directly with Instagram. So there's this little workaround that you have to do. So just give me 1 second here. All right. So awesome stuff, everybody. Really excited to be with you all here today. And by the way, we are officially live now on Instagram. So you can join us there as well if you haven't done so already. But yeah, so it's been a really exciting month for us here at Motion.io. February was just really a lot of ways a huge step forward for the Motion.io platform. And I see Amari joining us from Round Rock, Texas. Not sure where that is. My brother actually lives in Austin, though. I see him a couple times a year, go down there. Love Texas this time of year. Beautiful weather. I don't know where that is in relation, but yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, that it's been a really big month, and February brought a lot of new changes to the Motion.io platform. So to quickly pivot over here to our release notes, I'm going to go ahead and just give a kind of high level overview of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And what you will see here is that for our February release, some of the biggest things we did is we completely improved and redesigned the Motion.io task composer. We launched a brand new feature called recurring tasks. This one was highly requested from our users, so we're really excited to have it. And then there's also a number of other big product updates that are really important, like quality of life and just important enhancements for streamlining your workflows. One of those is you can now create checklists in any type of task. This was, used to be restricted to just creating checklists in internal tasks, but you can now do it for all types of tasks, both client-facing and internal. And we've also added a feature that allows you to automatically log email responses to Motion.io notifications in your message center. And that's kind of what you're looking at here in the release notes that I have up on the screen. We'll also be talking about our project progress tracker preview and how you can now just preview this by going directly to the tasks page of your portal. And then there's a number of other, various improvements in quality of life updates we've released over the last month. So we'll be talking about that as well. Oh, and thanks, Amari, for the clarification. Round Rock's just 20 minutes north of Austin. That's awesome. If I'm ever down in that neck of the woods, I know you're a Motion.io customer. So would love to, connect sometime next time I'm down there. And Ella wrote in from Facebook. I just had some great calls with Evan. Sadly, there are no permissions implemented yet for parties on project to see only certain info. And yeah, Ella, sorry that we don't have the advanced sort of permissions that you need. That is, and one of the benefits of these live streams is I'm able to peel back the curtain a little bit and tell you about things that are in our pipeline. Um, Advanced permissions are something that is coming up within just the next month or so. We're going to be releasing that here soon, but yeah, unfortunately, sorry that you didn't have all of the permissions that you needed to be able to use the platform right now, but we will circle back with you when we release those updates. So with that, and thanks everybody for writing in. By the way, like, I do these live streams for you, our current customers, trial signups, anybody who's interested in the platform. So write in, share your comments. I'm here to tell you about everything motion.io, whether that's related to our recent update or not. So happy to field any questions that you might have throughout this webinar. I'm an open book for this next hour, so please write in. So with that, I'm going to pivot back and we're going to talk about kind of our first big feature that I wanted to mention here today. And that is going to be our redesigned and improved task builder. So let me just take a second here and I'm going to jump in to a motion.io account that I have set up and show you how this, what this new task builder looks like and the things that you can do with it. And also talk a little bit about like our motivations behind redesigning it. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Oh, and I see Melissa's joining us from Toronto, Ontario. Thanks so much for writing in. Really happy to have you with us here today, Melissa. Ella also commented that and the ability to export chats ourselves for record keeping in case ever needed for legal purposes. Yeah, thanks for that additional note, Ella. That is something I remember talking about with Evan. Evan's one of the newer team members here at motion.io. We've grown from just the 3 of us founders to we now have a full team of 8 people in just the past year, and it's been really exciting. But Evan did mention that to me. I know we logged that as a feature request for you. Yeah, we'll be sure to update you, when we are able to prioritize that. So with that, I want to talk first, just to kind of like refocus us here. I want to talk first about motion.io's improved and redesigned task builder. So this was just released on Wednesday. And what you'll see now is if you go into a project or template and go to the tasks page and then click add task, if you've used motion.io prior to this update, this is going to look a little bit different. So the reason why we decided to redo our task composer is that we had noticed that previously when we had all of these task options down here under the title, assignee, details fields, it was starting to get just a little bit hard to read and hard to like move quickly. One of our core ethos here about like the way that we build motion.io and also the way like just our team operates is we are all about speed. And we noticed that like when we would be testing, creating new tasks, creating new projects, showing clients things, that it was kind of having the task options at the bottom of this task composer and in no real like categorized way was kind of slowing us down a little bit. So what we did with this redesign is we moved the task options from below the details section over here to the right-hand side. And the task options are now organized into 3 very clean categories for you. So there's the attach category, and these are all things you can attach to the task, like files, forms, documents, websites or apps, and checklists. There is the require category, which is what you will use to get feed or collect files from clients. So you're requiring them to upload files, requiring them to sign off on something, or also require team review on a task. If you were around for our last product update, this require team review option was something we implemented in January later in that month. And what this allows you to do is if, let's say a client is going to complete an onboarding form for you, and I'm just going to create a quick task to show you how this works. And clients are constantly like getting something wrong on the onboarding form, or maybe let's say, they don't just provide all of the information they need. What you can do is toggling on this team review option under the require category. You can specify a team member that you want to look at this task before it is marked complete. So after the client would complete the onboarding form, and I'll just attach that quickly to show you how this works. After the client would complete this form, the status of this task will change to in review. And I'll even show you just quickly what that looks like here. So I'm going to manually mark this as complete. We'll go ahead and just update this quickly. And then the status of this task would then change. Oh, and it looks like, hold on one second. Where did I put that task? It's okay. I'll just show you with this one. So basically, after the client would complete their onboarding form, this could change to the in review status. And you'll clearly see that when the client completes it, be able to verify that and then mark it as complete so it shows in the dashboard. Looking at a couple of other things within our new task composer, the final category of things that you can configure within a task are going to be these options under the schedule category. So you'll also notice that the due date and reminders used to be at the bottom of the task composer. We've adjusted this. So the due date and the way that you set it is by going in and clicking due date. Setting a due date as you would, it just appears in a different spot. You'll also notice that the reminders are automatically turned on after you set a due date here. A question that I see that we have gotten, it looks like from Instagram, is that, hey, can I turn off reminders, if once they're automatically toggled on? And yes, you can toggle off reminders. So after you set a due date, let's say you didn't want reminders about this task. It was something that, the client, you just wanted them to like look at or view, but it wasn't necessarily something that like was a must complete. If you wanted to turn off reminders, all you got to do is click the little X button here, and that'll turn those reminders off for the task. So I'm going to pause there and see if anybody has questions that came up as I'm showing you, the new things and what we've done here within the task composer. Before I talk about the last option and another part of this update, which is the ability to create recurring tasks. And I do want to talk about that in just a minute, as well as show you kind of a more detailed view about how checklists work. But if anybody has questions in the meantime, please write in. I would love to help answer anything that you want to know about the platform in this recent update. So what I will show you next, because I kind of glanced over this, but it's a really cool new option within the task composer. And this is a part of this update, is the ability to create checklists in tasks. So I have a really good example of this that I set up ahead of the call. And you'll see that in this project, this sort of sample project I've created, this is for a pretend client that we are running and creating performance marketing campaigns for them. So Google ads, LinkedIn ads, Facebook, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. And in this project, you'll see that I have a task that is an internal task where we need to provision, my team and I, we need to provision the client's ad accounts. And within this, I've added a checklist for us, my team members and I, to kind of mark these off as we complete them. With checklists in internal tasks, you can assign them to your team members. But you also have the ability, and this was something that existed in Motion Audio before, but you also now have the ability to create checklists for clients. So a quick example of this, and actually, um, I would love to know, is this something anybody who's watching would like to use with clients? Do you have an example of like a checklist you might want to create for a client? Because I can, show you how that might work here on the call. But what you can do now is, if this is a client task, like let's say there are, some things that they need to do maybe outside of motion.io that you want them to, check off for you. You could, just create a quick task called complete checklist, and then click the checklist task option and add those items for them to complete. So you could do item 1, item 2, item 3. And then when you assign this task and the client goes to complete it in their portal, they'll be able to check off these things, just like you're able to do with internal tasks that include checklists, except this would be a client-facing task. Melissa wrote in from YouTube, definitely would use checklists for clients in real estate, e.g. leases, getting rental insurance, switching over utilities, etc. Yeah, Melissa, like that is a perfect example of ways that I could see this items being used, because for things like switching over utilities, right? Typically you're not going to embed like their Excel login into this. They'd probably do that outside of the Motion.io platform. But that's a great example of the types of things that you might want a client to be responsible for when completing tasks and have a checklist for them. Typically, the way that I recommend using checklists in Motion.io is if there is like sort of a larger task that you want to break down into more actionable steps for a client, the checklists are a great option for doing that. Amari wrote in, does the checklist impact task completion? Must have the checklist complete in order to mark the parent task complete. And actually, I don't know if I actually know that. We can go ahead and check for you though here. So let me go and just assign this task. Sometimes because we're releasing features like every Wednesday, certain things I am the one QAing them. So doing quality assurance, and then, for other things like my other team members are doing that. So let me go back to this checklist task, or actually I got to create a new one here quick. So let's call this client checklist. And we can even just show you how this looks on the client side. Going to add a quick checklist. Item 1, item 2, and item 3. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I've assigned it to my client, and I'm going to send it to them. And now what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and open this task I just created, this client checklist task, as my client. If you haven't done this before, you're not familiar with this functionality here, the way you can preview like exactly what your client will see in a Motion.io project is by clicking their magic link, then just quickly opening a incognito tab and pasting their link into your incognito tab. So let's go ahead and just run through this client checklist task yet quickly. Okay. So it looks like for the client checklist right now, that's not going to automatically mark it as complete. They'll have to kind of check these things off and then mark that as complete. But this could actually be a really great use case for the require team review. Because what we could do for a task like this, because we want to make sure the client checked off all of those items, you could go to your checklist task and then just toggle on the team review option. So your team member will be notified of the task being marked as complete by the client, and they can then go in and review to confirm that that checklist has indeed been completed. So, Amari, that was a great question. But yeah, I think that the best way you'll want to organize that is definitely just using that require team review option in collaboration with the checklist. Ernie Kostner is on YouTube asking a question. For mortgage brokers, we spend a good portion of our day just following up for documents and confirming them that they have been approved by the lender. Copy all that is good. I like the team review function. Sorry, I thought that was the same person leaving the comment. Yeah, Ernie. So for things that you are spending, like following up and confirming, things like that, Motion.io is perfect for eliminating that kind of manual work and like tedious client follow-up that you have to do. Because really the strength of our platform is, hey, you need a client to do something. Great. You create a task for that. Motion.io automatically follows up, reminds them to complete it. And then if there are things that you need to review, you can use this require team review option to just notify yourself of that and be able to kind of run down a list of the things your clients had done that day and be able to just quickly review them. And Amari, so great to hear that you like the team review function. That was something that, and that functionality came as a direct result of feedback from our users. At Motion.io, like one of the most important things for us is taking feedback from our customers, talking about it internally, and then if we decide it's something that would help all of our users, we move really fast to implement those things. Some of the smaller things we get feedback on that, like, hey, it's kind of for this specific type of project, a specific user, might take us, a couple of weeks to do. But things we know that are immediately going to be impactful to all of our users, we will implement typically within a week. Because if you're new to Motion.io, we ship a product update every single Wednesday, basically without fail, aside from holidays and stuff. And if you haven't actually looked at it yet, we started releasing a change log that you can view in real time. So I'm just going to show you this here real quick. But you can simply just go to motion.io/changelog, and you'll be able to see every single update that we've pushed since we started doing this. We just started doing this change log back in January, but we include the updates and information about what we do every single Wednesday when we release new features. So that's a really great place to get sort of more real-time updates, just because we only do our product release notes and then our this live stream I'm doing now. We do that once a month, but the change log you're seeing here on my screen is something we do every single week. So a really great place to be updated. And Ernie wrote in, I assume you can set how often follow-ups are sent to the client. So the way that follow-ups work, Ernie, in Motion.io right now is when you toggle on reminders for a task. Let me get back here into my account. What we do is we automatically follow up with clients based on the due date of that task. So, for example, if you set a due date to be, let's say, it is Friday right now. Let's say I want this task done by Monday. You can look at the schedule of reminders here. But basically, like in this case where the due date of the task was March 11th, the client would get a reminder that would be tomorrow, and then they'll receive another reminder on the day the task is due, as well as 1 and 3 days after the task is due. We have an update plan to provide a little bit more granular customizability with reminders. Not a priority for us at the moment, but if that is something that you is a must-have for you, definitely encourage you to reach out, leave a feature request for us by emailing us at hello@motion.io. And I will paste that email address here in the chat. And George Jorgensen asks a question: how secure is the platform if I want to share docs from clients with confidential info? What I would recommend there, Jorg, is if you have questions about security, definitely reach out to our team. You can use that same email address I pasted in the chat, which is just hello@motion.io too. Or sorry, hello@motion.io. And we'll connect you with a team member. They'll be able to answer all of your security related questions, just because every single type of business I've ever worked with has different security qualifications that they need. So we'd rather like dig into those with you live. I come from the like mental health space. Previously, we were building an agency there, and HIPAA was the big thing for us. SOC 2 like was never a concern, but it was all about HIPAA. So helpful to speak live with somebody, and they'll be able to answer your specific questions. So great. So we've talked about the kind of first big feature that we've released, which is that new task composer. And as well, we've talked about the client checklist functionality that's now a part of that. The kind of final thing, and another big item included in this release that I definitely wanted to walk through with you all here today, is the ability to create recurring tasks in Motion.io projects. So let's go ahead and show you that now. And just for a quick overview of what recurring tasks are, is they allow you to easily set up tasks that repeat on a schedule that works for your team. And once a task is made recurring, it will automatically be assigned to the designated client or team member at the specified intervals. That is a fancy way of saying like, hey, if there is something you need a client or a team member to do every month, recurring tasks are the way that you can create those things for them to do automatically without having to, go back into a project every single time you need that task completed and recreate it. What I have done ahead of this webinar today is I've actually created some recurring tasks in this sample project that I've set up. And I'm going to show you, a couple of different ways that you can use them. So you'll see here that I have, within my Motion.io project, I have these stages that are kind of linear, where it's onboarding, campaign creation, campaign launch. But then after the campaigns are launched for this digital marketing client I'm working with, I have this final stage called ongoing management and optimization. And you'll see here that there are some tasks that look a little bit different than the standard type of tasks you create in Motion.io. And what you see here are recurring tasks. To quickly show you two examples of the types of things you can use recurring task functionality for, the first task I have here in my ongoing management and optimization stage is a task for the client to schedule a monthly check-in call. And I've embedded my Calendly calendar directly into that task. To show you what this looks like in the configuration settings, what will happen, and actually let me just roll this back here. I'm going to just start from scratch just so you can all see what creating a recurring task looks like. So I'm going to click add task, and I will go ahead and enter a name. And I'll just call this schedule check-in call. Select my assignee, and then I'm going to click this embed option to paste in my Calendly link. And now that this is set up, I'm going to come down to the schedule options here and click recurring. When I do, a modal that will open that allows me to specify what day of the month I want this task to be completed on. One important thing to note is that right now with recurring tasks, they all operate on a monthly schedule. We do have plans to add some additional things and some additional customizability that allows you to create tasks on certain days of the week or on a bi-weekly schedule maybe. But we chose to hold off on that for right now, just to see, what types of additional customizability folks would want. If you have ideas of like things that would be helpful for you, we'd love to know. Write them in the chat, send us an email. What you will see with recurring tasks is that once I, edit these settings, so let's just say, I want them to schedule I want this task to be activated every day on the third day of the month at 8 a.m. After I configure that, I then have some additional fields up here that I can use to dynamically populate that information within the task. Because the way that recurring tasks work is every time it recurs. So, for example, in this task on the third of every month, it's going to create a new task. We kind of call it like a parent task, and then the recurring task it creates are the kind of the child tasks. So what I can do with this is to give this a little bit more clarity for the client. I can copy this month field here in brackets. And now every time this recurring task executes, instead of just saying schedule check-in call, it'll say schedule March check-in call or schedule April check-in call. You can also use these fields in the description of your recurring task. So if there's things like, I could say, hey, it's time for your month check-in call. Please schedule using the calendar below. And I'll go ahead and click save on that. One thing to note when you create a new recurring task is just like all of the other tasks you might create in motion.io, they are set to the draft status by default, meaning that these tasks, clients will not be able to see them or complete them in their portals at the moment. The way that you turn on a recurring task is you go to this drop down here and then click start recurrence. Now what's going to happen, because this task I created is on and recurring, is that on the 3rd of every month, so the first time that this would recur would be the 3rd of April, this task is going to create a new task under it that the client will complete in their portal. One question that I see just came in is around the ability for clients to see recurring tasks in their portals. And one thing to note is that the parent of a recurring task, clients will not see these. Clients are only going to see new recurring tasks that are created. And the way that you customize recurring tasks, like let's say I wanted to turn this off and make some changes. Where you will go to customize a recurring task is always to this parent task here. So I turned it off and now I can make changes. So let's say if I wanted to, update my calendar link here, I could do that. And then, when this task recurred the next time, it would feature that updating calendar link. And Melissa wrote in, weekly would be really helpful. Very great to know, Melissa. I would also love to know, like, what kinds of things would you be doing with a weekly recurring task? How does your business operate? What would you do with that? Is really helpful information for us as well. I ask because I'll also log a feature request for you, and it's helpful to have like some use cases around that. Jorg asked another question. Can you set up a template with a recurring task so that when you add a client to that template, it automatically assigns them the recurring tasks? Yes, and that is, I have Kate Yunkin from our team joining me here in the background today, and she had actually answered the question, but I do want to just show you all this real quick. So yes, you can also create recurring tasks in your project templates. Let me just show you this here real quick. So I'm going to my templates library and I'm going to add a task here real quick. I'm just going to title this recurring task. Great. I can configure it as I had done previously. And yeah, what would happen is that when you create a project from this template, you are able to, assign your clients to complete this, and this will all populate for you automatically. So in this case, like I know this template isn't sort of all the way built out. It's just an example I was working on earlier. But if I wanted to quickly create a project from this template, I'll just choose my example template, enter a quick name. And then what you'll see on the tasks page is great. Yeah, that recurring task pulled into the new project I created. So the second layer of that is, if you all out there, if you're not familiar yet with it, Motion.io has a really robust Zapier integration. And one of the most common ways we see people using that Zapier integration is that they set it up so it automatically creates projects when something else happens in another tool that they're using. One of the most popular ways to use that, or actually two of the most popular ways, is to automatically create and kick off projects when a client fills out a form, or if a client is updated in your CRM. So if a client is closed in your CRM, marked as closed won or customer or something like that, what you can do with our Zapier integration is automatically send them to Motion.io, create a project, assign them tasks, and then kick off projects that way. A quick example, just to show you one of a way that you can use Zapier to create tasks. I'll go ahead and just log into my Zapier account and pull up a quick example for you, Jorg, just because I think it'd probably be helpful for you to see, kind of what this looks like. We also do offer implementation services, though, if you would like help setting that up. And if anybody is interested in, our paid implementation services, definitely write in, send me an email personally at sam@motion.io, and I can connect you with Kate, who leads all of our implementations at motion.io. But let me just go ahead and find you a real quick example of like a way that you can use our Zapier integration here. One second. And so this is actually a very cool example that I've found. Go High Level is a tool that many of our customers use, specifically like marketing agencies and consultants, that they are using as their CRM. And what I'm showing you here is an integration with Go High Level, where it catches a webhook from Go High Level and then automatically creates a project in Motion.io. And you'll see here that within our create project action, you have the option to immediately assign tasks to your clients. So you enter their details, you pull that in from Go High Level, you can immediately create that project and assign them tasks. And then Motion.io's built-in automations give you the ability to basically activate the tasks on project creation and kind of have those follow one after another as clients are knocking things out. So hopefully that was useful for you, Jorg, as well as anybody else in the audience. I see we have a question from Melissa. A clarification around internal tasks. And Melissa wrote in, it would be an internal feature for our social media, reminding us to show analytics on a client's property weekly or bi-weekly based on the social media ads. Yeah, that's a great example of something that, a way that you might want to use that. And actually, Melissa, wanted to show you something really quickly here, which is another way that you can use our recurring tasks functionality. So I'm going to go back to this sample project I've created, this Moxie Beverages project. And on the task page, I have another great example of recurring tasks, which is a task for the client to review a monthly reporting dashboard. So we don't have weekly yet, but this is just a really great example of it because it's pretty reflective of what you're trying to do. But what I did ahead of the call here today is I set up a recurring task that asks the client to review a monthly reporting dashboard. And I embedded actually a report from Google Looker Studio to give them access to that information. And to show you what the configuration of this looks like, you'll see I use this embed option and just added my Google Looker Studio report link. And then I toggled on this recurring task option. So every single month, the client will be reminded to go in here and review their reporting dashboard. So this is something you can do with monthly repeating tasks. We don't have that weekly functionality. And Melissa shared, oh, amazing. That's awesome. I really glad I set this example up ahead of time because I thought that it might be useful to a few folks watching this live stream. So good to hear it was helpful for you. So yeah, that really does it for recurring tasks. We've tried to make this functionality really easy to use and straightforward. But the basics of it are, to create recurring tasks, all you got to do is click this task option from the sidebar on the right side. And then once you've set that up, all you got to do is click Start Recurrence to launch your recurring tasks. And then if at any point you want to turn those off, great. You can click Start Recurrence, edit those, activate them later. Yeah. So with that, I want to talk about another big feature in our release. And this one might seem smaller and less impactful at first, but promise me, it's really, really cool, especially if you are familiar with Motion.io already. We realized that this was a pain point for some of our customers. And that feature that I want to talk about that we've added to solve this pain point is our new functionality, which automatically logs email replies to Motion.io notifications within your message center. So this one is a little bit harder to show you the way that it works live. So what I've done is I've pulled up this screenshot, and to see a little bit more about the way that this works here is an example of a task where the client, which was me in this case, I assigned myself to this task. The client was asked to sign their new client agreement, and they received a reminder email about that task. To the notification email, so not in Motion.io, this was in my Gmail inbox, I responded to this task. I'm working with our internal leadership to finalize budget approval for this project. I will sign up within the next 2 business days. So that was a email response that when I responded directly to that task notification email. And now with this functionality we've added, responses like that will automatically get pulled into your Motion.io message center. So you don't have to, you can live in Motion.io and not in your email inbox anymore. So this ability to log email replies, this is going to work for notifications about new tasks you assign. It's going to work for notifications about new chat messages, and it's also going to apply to daily digest emails. So if a client responds to an email outside of Motion.io, you are now able to go to your message center and see those responses. So if you're not familiar with Motion.io's message center and the way that it works, the message center previously, what this used to do, and what it still does, is it would provide a space to respond to client chat messages and comments on tasks in one place. But now it actually gives you the ability to respond to certain client emails. So to show you the live version of this email reply the client left, I can see in my Motion.io message center, I can see their response, and I see that Sarah, which is my fake team member here, responded to me. And I can also get context on, what they had responded to. So this is something a new feature we are really excited about, just because we'd actually heard from one of our customers who's been with us for a while. Hey, clients are constantly responding to Motion.io notification emails. And, we're occasionally missing some of those because it's not pulled into the message center. And within a week, we launched this functionality that makes it so those email replies are now in the message center. So I really hope that this new functionality is helpful for everybody else watching this email today or watching this live stream today. It's something we have been hearing really good things about from those folks that have requested it. But yeah, you'll start seeing those email replies directly in your Motion.io message center. So with that, that covers kind of the primary features within this release. But I do just want to pause. Hey, are there questions that you have about the way that any of what I've shown you works so far? Got a couple more things to show you, but I'm around here for another 15 minutes or so to answer any other questions you have about the Motion.io platform. And Jorg, thanks for writing in. Very nice to hear that you think that that solution would be valuable to you. Yeah, we're really happy with it. It's running really smoothly. And those email replies, yeah, they're getting logged in the message center, able to get those communications from clients. And really, this furthers our mission of being able to give businesses the tools that they need to centralize and streamline client communication and project management and get it so you can get out of the chaos of your email inbox. I know, with our team using Motion.io internally to onboard our own customers, it's been a game changer for us, like using our own tool. We call it eating our own dog food for the past year and a half. Because, your email inbox, there's so many things coming in. You're getting, cold outreach emails. You're getting, newsletters from companies you don't ever remember subscribing to. And it can get messy in there. So move that communication to Motion.io, manage it all in one place. It's going to make life easier for you, your team, everybody else involved in the project. Another thing that I wanted to show off here today is a smaller change, but a very, very impactful one for giving you and your team clarity into the projects that you are running in Motion.io. And that is, and you may have seen this already, but that is what we've done here with the project progress tracker is team members now have access to it within each and every individual project. Previously in Motion.io, you had to impersonate a client or like go into their portal to see the status of this progress tracker. But now for each and every project you go into in Motion.io, and I'll just show you another project quickly, you and your team have access to the project tracker right at the top of the tasks page. This is especially useful if you're making changes to the project progress tracker. So for example, if you are hiding certain stages, let's go down here in this project, and I'm actually going to hide this ongoing management and optimization stage. So I'm going to click next to the stage title, and I'll click hide from tracker. And cool, you can see that in real time, this project progress tracker has updated. So that stage that I hid is no longer visible. And I know that this is exactly what my client is going to see in their portal. And I just saw that we had a question come in from Ela Connect. Oh, and by the way, here's that project I meant to show you. I realized I was on the wrong tab. But we had a great question come in from Ela Connect. Could you show us how to embed a third-party app as a task? Yes, absolutely. And that is the kind of question I would love to answer on these. If there's things you've been using the platform, they're lingering, you don't know quite how to do them. I love to show features off like that during these streams. So for this example, so this is going to work to embed third-party apps in tasks. It works the exact same way in active projects as it does templates. So what I'm going to do for this example is I'm going to show you the process of embedding a third-party app in one of my templates. So I'm going to go ahead here into my example template, and I'm going to add a new task to my onboarding stage here. Click add task, enter a name, and then enter a name for this task. To keep things nice and simple, I'm just going to call this, schedule kickoff call, just because I have a link handy for this. And now to embed my third-party app, which is going to be a Calendly calendar, I'm going to click the embed option right here. Once I click embed, a window is going to open where I can paste in a iframe embed code or a URL. And in this case, I grabbed a link from Calendly, so I'm just going to paste this in here. And what you'll see, if after I give this a couple seconds to populate, is great. That task or that Calendly calendar is now populated within the task. So now the next time I want to go back and create a project from this template, what you'll see will happen, I'm going to archive these projects really quickly just to get them out of the way here. This is something I do all the time, by the way. If you don't use these bulk actions, I love this functionality because it's really great. Like if you're testing things or there's like old projects you want to move out of the way, you can set the status of projects to archived, which will hide them from your project dashboard. But I'm going to go ahead and create a project from that template that I created that embed task in. And then what you'll see here is when I go to the tasks page, great. This schedule kickoff call I created, the Calendly embed that I put in the template is now automatically included here. And I can go ahead and, very easily assign a client to this task, have them complete it. Or better yet, I could automate this through Zapier. But for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and choose one of my clients from the directory. And then go ahead and assign them to this task and send it. Simple as that. To show you another just quick example of like some other things that you can embed into a task. I know that there was, we had Melissa talking about the ability to like embed reporting dashboards. So I'll show you how to do that as well using the embed task option. This time I'm going to create the task directly in an active project. So I'll click create task. Once again, click the embed option here. And then I have a Google Looker Studio report here. And I'm going to go ahead and click edit and share. And then I'm going to click the embed report option and copy. I find that this embed, if you are using Google Looker Studio, I like using the embed URL option versus the embed code. I think it just embeds a little bit better. It kind of looks nicer within Motion.io. So I'm going to copy this code, return to my Motion.io project, go ahead and paste that in. And just like with the Calendly calendar, after a few moments, you'll notice that that populates directly in the task. I'll title this review report, add an assignee, go ahead and send that task. Whoops, mark that as completed. Didn't mean to do that. So I hope that answers your question about the third-party app embeds. There's a ton of different ways that you can use this. If you go to the Motion.io knowledge base, which I will include a link to in the chat here, there's a bunch of like specific instructions for different apps that you can embed. So feel free to go ahead and check that out. Also, if you have additional questions about things that you can embed or the process for it, definitely just write into our support desk. We are standing by, always happy to help in there. So definitely let us know. Amazing stuff. So I also wanted to talk about, for the kind of final couple of minutes here, about some other improvements we've made to the Motion.io platform. In our release notes every month, we always include a section down here at the bottom. And let me just quickly pan to my other tab. So we talked about all of these major features, but if you look through our release notes every month, you'll notice that at the bottom, we have all of these other things we do that are smaller updates. Sometimes they're bug fixes, but for this update, our February 2025 update, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So if you haven't checked out our release notes for February yet, definitely recommend you review those, especially this section at the bottom, because we've added a ton of cool stuff. One of the big things we did that was a request from a couple different users. Previously, we had a maximum file upload size of 200 megabytes. We increased that to 500 megabytes. May increase that some more in the future, but there are some complexities with that. So we're sticking with 500 for right now. What we've also done is we added additional settings for notification enhancements. And this is something specifically I wanted to show off out of this list, just because if you missed it or you're not familiar with it, you now have the option to set notification preferences for client comments, chats, help and help desk tickets, with the ability to receive notifications immediately, daily, or not at all. So we do have a knowledge base article up for this, but just to very quickly show you how to set notification preferences and the new options that you have. If I go into my account's profile tab, or sorry, I go into my account's notifications tab, what you'll see here is you have all of these new settings that you can add for specific projects. And this is sorted by active projects as well as templates. When you are setting notification preferences, one thing that is important to note is this is done on like an individual team member basis. So for me right now, the customizations I make to my notification preferences here are going to apply just to me, and every one of your team members can set their notification preferences how they want and how they think works best. What I recommend is when you're setting these, if there are certain templates you are using that you don't want to be notified on or want to be notified, on a specific schedule in a certain way, you can set your notification preferences at the template level to make it so that any projects you create from that template, those notification preferences carry over. So a great example of this, if you're just looking at my notification preferences here, all of these templates I've set up. So I'm only going to be notified about new activity with them once a day. And that's going to include client messages as well as other activities. For this digital marketing template, however, and let's say that, this was my template. I knew I was always going to be the project owner. I was always going to be the person responsible for these types of projects. What I've done is I've set my notification preferences to immediately. I could also, if I didn't want to be notified about these other templates at all, I could even set this to none. So any project that this was created from, I'd be able to view those projects. I'd be able to see our in-app notifications for messages and new activity, but I wouldn't be emailed by Motion.io. And this is a feature we added just because it can be really useful for like cleaning up your inbox and making sure that Motion.io is only notifying you and your team members of the most important things that you need to know. So that really does it for this product update live stream in this latest release. Thank you all so much for joining in, asking some great questions. I love putting these things on, especially when people are writing in with their questions. Makes it a lot more fun for me, and I hopefully provides a ton more value for you. So we'll make sure to notify you. We also have started doing monthly training webinars once a month as well. So if you're on our email list, you'll get a message about those. Kate from our team runs those training webinars, but so we do one of those every month, and then one of these product update live streams every month. So be on the lookout. We send information about those. But yeah, we're up to 2 of these live streams a month, and we're looking forward to seeing you for the next one. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time, and hope everybody has a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.